Hey friends. So last Wednesday, I had mentioned a couple of the different techniques that I've been using personally to help clear my lymphatic system. And our focus for the next season is on three things: take inventory of what you have, steward what you've been given, and take out the trash. And this idea of taking out the trash has really been at the forefront of my mind in regards to cleaning the lymphatic system. So I have the privilege of a lot of fatigue, a lot of puffiness, a lot of adrenal fatigue, and multiple bodily issues that sometimes come from a clogged lymphatic system. And the information that I'm going to be giving and demonstrating today can easily be found on Google or on any sort of website. I am definitely not a well versed in all of this, but what I can say is this is how it's helped me. So, a couple of different things. My daily routine, which takes about 10 minutes, involves dry brushing, lymphatic drainage in my face, my body, and that takes about 10 minutes. And so I wanted to show you the different types of lymphatic brushes or dry brushes that I use. You want to use a natural material. I found this at Target for about $6 or $7. I was given this one, and it should be have the ability to be cleaned and hang dry, whatever. And what it is a stiff, natural brush that helps your body, helps brush your body. And what you do with that is you move from your limbs, so your legs, your arms, and everything culminates into your heart area, the main area. So this is the termini. And again, if I don't get this correct, please correct me. It's a good thing to be teachable. It's a good thing to do your research. But this is the main channel that drains your lymphatic system. And you want to start with your upper legs. And I'll show you here. You want to start with your upper legs and use an upward motion. Then follow it down by your lower legs, moving an upward motion. You want to start at your groin area. Brush up your arms, brush towards your heart, your neck, brush towards your heart, your belly. You can do a circular motion. Usually clockwise is if you face consequences, or if you have a tendency to be more constipated, and counterclockwise if you tend to be a little bit looser. This is really good for circulation. It's really good for exfoliation. It's really good for draining your lymphatic system again. And the next thing that I do in the morning, after I take my shower, after I do my dry brushing, I use something like this. There's nothing magical about this little thing. It is gua sha. And if I mispronounce this, don't mind it. Gua sha helps with reducing puffiness. It helps reduce lymphatic buildup. It improves circulation. I'm checking my notes up here. Lymphatic drainage, facial tension, reduces inflammation. And what I do, again, I start around the main section and I take a little bit of oil. So here's coconut oil. I use my own concoction of coconut oil with some herbal essential oils. Or you can use castor oil. And you put a little bit all over your face, and starting with the termini above the collarbone and below the collarbone. Then you go to the neck and use the long section right here. And I usually do this about 15 times, right underneath the earlobe, and then a little bit closer to the chin. And I do this on both sides. Next, I take the little rounded edge, the little heart edge, and I drag it from my chin up my jawline. I do that on both sides. Next, I kind of scrape along here, right underneath my lips. And what I've noticed with this is there tends to be a lot of crunchy areas in my face, in my body. And what that is it is a muscle knots. There's scar tissue, there's buildup of metabolic waste buildup, there's fascial adhesions. So the fascia tends to be a little bit wonky, a lack of blood supply to the muscles, a lactic acid buildup, and you ever get a side stretch or a side cramp when you're running or you're walking, it's a buildup of lactic acid. And if that's not taken care of, if the movement and hydration and whatnot doesn't take care of it, it can solidify and become calcium deposits. So I am noticing in these little areas on my face where there's crunchies, and I tend to take a little bit longer time on these areas just because I want to release the muscle knots and help my muscles and the fluids in my body to work a little bit more functional and not so much in tension and holding on and dysfunction. Next, I take the little heart section and I go underneath my eye and underneath my cheekbone, and I bring that up towards my ear. And you can start with a little bit of pressure and build up from that. So the lymphatic system is right underneath the skin. So you don't really need to do, a huge amount of pressure. So you do that on both sides. And then above your eyebrow, using the little heart side. And then I usually do this right up to the hairline. And it's amazing how many crunchies are in my forehead. So these are just a little bit different techniques. Another way you can open the lymphatic system and encourage it to work properly. You do this by using a pumping action. So the lymphatic system isn't self-regulated, meaning it doesn't have muscle contractions. So the only way that you can get your lymphatic system to move properly is through hydration, through a good diet, through movement, through exercise, and through self-massage. So before I start my face, I will start to open it up, rubbing it on my chin, around my nose, between my eyebrows, along the jaw. I do my little Spock hands and go before and behind the ear. And again, I do the little pressure above the collarbone, below the collarbone, in between the belly button and the sternum, and then under the armpits where there's that deep recess there. You want to press that, and you might notice that there's a little bit of tension in there, and I can go into that a little bit later. The next part is your groin area, and then behind your knees. So with any sort of lymphatic movement, if you feel tension or if you notice that there's some extra crunchiness or whatnot, think about that, examine that. Perhaps if there's tension or if there's a sore area, maybe you're battling some sort of bug in your body, some sort of thing you're fighting off. Or perhaps you have a history of trauma or surgical areas or areas of excess tension in that particular spot, and just be gentle with yourself. And if you've had any sort of cancer treatments or any sort of um, any anything else underneath a doctor's um, advice or um, any sort of doctor's supervision, always check with them. There are some really great lymphatic massage specialists that can help with drainage, and I would just highly recommend checking into that. So the other aspect, why do I do this? Why do I bother with this? My husband would say it's the hippie stuff, and this is my experience. So with the dry brushing, I thought it would be really good for exfoliation. Yeah, I can see, some sort of movement with the dry brushing would be beneficial. And when I was doing it initially, I was brushing away from my heart, and I was noticing that my ankles were getting really big, and I was holding a lot of fluid, a lot of tension in my ankles. And someone had mentioned, well, yes, you need to move it towards your heart, and that helps flush your system. So as soon as I started doing that, brushing upwards towards my heart, my ankle swelling went down. Amazing. The second thing with the gua sha, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, attaboy Beth, um, is when I was in Germany, I came down with some sort of bug. I was really sick. I had a fever. It was just something that would have normally knocked me on my butt for weeks and weeks. And typically, I have a lot of nasal congestion, and I didn't have access to our normal means of Sudafed and Vicks and all the other comfort things that we do when we get sick, right? I had some tissue and I had some cough drops, basically. And I was consistent with the um, facial lymphatic drainage with a gua sha, as well as draining the lymphatic system. And let me tell you, I sweat a lot. And sweating is very good for you when you're feeling good because it means that your body is getting rid of the toxins. And lo and behold, I didn't need any sort of decongestion aside from the 2 doses of Sudafed that were in the bottom of my husband's travel bag. Um, Aside from that, I didn't have any sort of other medicine to take. And I kept moving and I kept hydrating, and I got over the illness rather quickly. I sweat a lot, but I didn't have any sort of nasal pressure or headaches or anything else associated with that. So, as we're coming into this new season of colds and flus and COVID and whatever else, take into consideration maybe picking one of these little gui sha things up, um, and working, learning, and practicing just a little bit of self massage, lymphatic drainage, and always remember, take out the trash. Don't let it build up over time. And that is my little bit of information. Take it for what it is, and I will talk to you later. Have a great day.